now comes the leadership for the whole world. And Islam can be seen in its contributions to the world. You will see that Islam's contribution to the world is education more than it's any other thing. It's education more than it's any other thing. The contribution of Islam to the world is education. The number system we have now, it was introduced to the world by the followers of Muhammad the Prophet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Before that time, they were saying 1I, 1, 2I, 2, 3I, 3I, V4, V5, VI, 6, V2I, 7, V3I, 8, V4I, 9, IX, 10. X10. X10. IX9, pardon me. IX9, X10. Yeah, that's what they were saying. And then XI11. Right? XV3I, 18. You imagine how long it takes you to get a computer to solve a problem for you trying to use that system. But it was the revelation that came to the Arabs and to those people who joined Muhammad, putting emphasis on one. On one. One became such a powerful philosophical thought in the intellectual people of his time. They were made turn on. They became intellectual. And one had such a power because they saw God as one. They saw God as a unit. And they didn't want to understand that philosophically. They wanted to understand how is all of this many created by one. So they developed math, a system of math where no matter how you count for eternity, it's the infinitive. You have this in higher math, infinitive. And you never find the end of it. You can count forever. But where does it all come from? One. So actually, we think of 10 million as 10 million. But what is 10 million really? 10 million one. And if you understand that everything has its reality in a whole, not in parts, the full reality must be seen in the whole, then really 10 million is only 10 parts of one. 10 million parts of one. So then that's fractions, right? Fractions. 10 million parts of one. So that's philosophically speaking. But now, so they see all of these many as fractions of a whole. So they could understand this, and God says that He created Adam, one person. And from that one person, He created all the many men and women on this earth. So when they look at 10 million people, what do they see? 10 million reproductions of one. Huh? 10 million reproductions of one. You see? So it all comes back to one. So one became so powerful for them, it turned on their intellect. See, just this kind of thinking exercises the muscles of the intellect. And the dumbest person that came here today, they're a little smarter now. Yes. We live in a most advanced time, you know. But I wouldn't be surprised if we were living like 50,000 years ago. We might have heard a human voice in the audience for the first time. You, me. It's powerful. Hey, this is the beginning of language for us. You, me. Just a little humor helps. Yes. So God entrusted it to Muhammad's heart because his heart was sound and good and pure, registering the miseries of his time and his people, and he wanted to find a solution. So God didn't have to be called on. Muhammad didn't have to say, "Oh God." Some of us are so much in the grip of the world's habits in the grip of the world's thinking and habits that we just can't think. Can't think in a simple, sound way. We think to get a God to ask me, I'd say, God. God didn't have to hear his name from you. If you just want help, God knows. And God knows when you don't have help, and help can't come from any source but him. So you straining for help, and he knows ain't no help coming from any other source but him. God's going to answer you, especially if you have the heart like Muhammad had. God's going to answer you. Yeah, so we think if prayer ain't going to be heard unless I can say Allah, you don't say nothing. Say, oh. And be sincere. Just say, oh. You get an answer. Sometimes we hurt so bad it's like we can say. And God answers. Now, steps of progress for the intellect. First step is that the heart has to be, we call it intentions are good. The intent has to be good. You have to have a good heart. Everything in Islam begins with good intentions. If you have good intentions, you can go directly to God. You don't need a priest. You don't need an imam. You don't need anybody. You don't need a holy man or a holy woman. You don't need anybody but yourself. This is, Allah says that to Muhammad says, tell my servants, meaning those people who want me, want to worship God, says, tell them that I am always near. And I respond to the caller of the caller when he or she calls on me. That's God. Tell them I'm ever near. I'm ever near God. So we say we have to pray for a long time. The prayer has to go 50 billion miles out through the universe. Up there, God is way up there. Just keep praying. Keep praying. Keep praying. And it has to pray loud. I ain't praying loud enough. Oh, Lord! Oh, Lord! Got to pray loud and trying to reach him with the voice. God say, tell my servant. I'm near. Got to scream like that. Just have good intentions. And I hear and respond to the caller whenever he or she calls on me. That's what God said. So it begins with a good heart. Comes to God with a good heart, as Abraham did. So Abraham presented to God a heart that was good and sound. Then God will turn on your intellect, because the world won't progress without the intellect being activated. I don't care how good you are, you can stay good forever. You'll be good and happy in your goodness, but you won't have automobiles, the trains and ships and airplanes until the intellect turns on. And this is the common property of all people. So how come one people is productive and another people not productive? For the same reason that Arab society of Muhammad's time was not productive. They were not productive because they had not been put in the right situation mentally to benefit from the material world that God created for them to digest with their intellect and not just to digest with their stomachs. Yes. So if the black man of Africa is behind others, it's because they need to come back to that real connection with the external world. They need to have good heart and a real connection for their minds with the objective material world that God created. They have to become